Hello everyone, welcome to the Altieri Gaming channel. I've been following a lot of games as of late. I know I haven't posted anything on this channel for a while. This is a play around channel, so I'm not really totally serious about it. It's just for fun. But there is a game that I've been following called Day of Dragons, and it looked really cool. Now, I follow Gaming Beaver, and he was expressing his issues, and then he led me to the video IGP, who put out a video called The Truth About Day of Dragons, and I'm like, oh no, something bad's happening. And I watched the video where Gaming Beaver was actually able to play the demo of Day of Dragons, and it looks a lot like The Isle. I enjoyed playing The Isle, even though the community doesn't really seem to be there right now, and it's basically a game where you can free roam and play as a dinosaur. Really, really, really cool. I used to play a lot back in the day. I had friends I played it with, so I was like, wow, I love dragons so much, even more so than dinosaurs, so if they can have a game like this with dragons, this would be my dream. And I understand after having watched the video and the few little bits of research based on the little nuggets that we were given, I didn't do all of it. Most of my concerns were coming from the video I listened to from IGP, but I did go into some of the stuff. Some of the stuff that he linked are not there anymore. I don't know what's going on, but that does look kind of fishy. So here are the concerns. So let me try to put it into concise terms. People are backing this game because they want it to do well. They have it on Kickstarter, and right now, 12,000 as of this video. Last updated, October 18th. I know it's October 19th when I made this video, but as of October 18th, 12,123 backers pledged $533,938 so they could make this happen. The initial goal was $12,000, and it's over $500,000 that this guy has earned from this. I know if you're working with a team, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of money to pay those people, and I get it, developing a game is not cheap. However, the reason why I'm concerned too is based on what IGP was saying, and after hearing the audio discussions from this guy, he actually played this guy speaking. So it's not just hearsay. He actually, the developer himself, was saying these things. He is not being open with the community, which is a big problem. Here's why it's a big problem. If it was a game that's coming out and people weren't putting their money into, it wouldn't be a big deal. But people have been burned before, including me. Remember Star Citizen? Now, I don't know. Back in the day, everyone was like, oh, that game's gonna happen, and it was a big thing. I went to the convention. It was amazing. Everyone was on a high. They wanted to see Star Citizen happen. I wanted to see Star Citizen happen. Right now, I don't know if it's still happening. People are like, yeah, they're doing work and they're showing us. Yeah, okay. But a lot of people put a lot of money, and after a while, it's like, okay, Rob is like, there's nothing happening. I know this is a big game, but here's the issue. There have been cases of people starting these Kickstarters, doing the bare minimum and saying, hey, isn't this amazing game? Isn't this an amazing game? Which is basically just a concept. It's not the entirety of the game. And they get all this money. And what happens is that they make more money than they believe they would make. And they make off with the money and don't make the game. It's happened before. So when people are asking him to show the proof of his code or something, I think that they are within their right to do that. They're basically paying for a service, some of them paying over the amount that the game is probably going to be worth, in good faith. So I would want to know if I'm paying someone that I can see what I'm paying for. Like, don't just tell me, oh, I'll sell you a TV or I'll sell you a Nintendo Switch. Can I see it? Like, how would that go over if you're going to buy electronics or buy something expensive? And the person's like, no, just give me the money. I'll give it to you. I'll bring it out to you. Just give me the money first. Only if you're doing shady deals do you do that. Seriously. This is beyond concerning because, and his responses are not the right way that he should respond. That is not giving me good faith, and I'm glad I didn't put any money into this thing. Now, if he made $533,000, nearly $534K, honestly, guys, and try to be in this person's head for a second. I'm not saying absolute, like, this is not an official statement that this is what he's doing for sure. I'm just trying to make you understand. if you guys, you plan to make a game and all you wanted was $12,000, that's more than enough to make it happen. Because usually when they ask you if there's a goal, they usually set that goal higher than what the game would probably, the game itself would cost. You know, and I don't know if that doesn't make any sense, but basically they had to pay people to put the game together. There's going to be an overhead. So, and especially with taxes, and you know, the government takes off a slice of that. So they try to put it, set the bar. Let's just say the game costs realistically $9,000 to make. They put it at $12,000. So they have an overhead. They have a little bit more to cover everything. And they feel like they've made a profit. Now, if you only had that as your goal and you ended up making $500,000, it wouldn't tempt you to like go to another country off with that money, even if the government takes like 30% of what, you know, they're going to take, because now you're putting a high bracket. That's a lot of income tax. Wouldn't you be really tempted to be like, Jesus Christ, well, this is $500,000. I never have to work ever again. Screw this game. I'm going to go. It's your fault that you backed me. I never said this was going to happen. Come on. I mean, what the rest of us would be like, I never do that. Be real. Because there's a lot of other people who have. And when you get an influx of money like that, especially if you're not expecting it, or people aren't used to money, I don't think this guy comes from money. I don't know him, so I'm just assuming. You're not going to know what the frick to do with that money. You're going to be like, listen, this is a lot of money. Like, this is more money like that I made now just asking. Wow, Jesus Christ. I mean, there are people on Kickstarters or on Twitch now, and all you have to do is, you know, you have to look good and dress up and dance and do whatever, and people just throw money at you, and you're like, well, why not? I mean, people call the Twitch thoughts that, you know, and honestly, yeah, whatever, but can you hate, like, they're just supply and demand, though. If there wasn't a demand, they wouldn't be supplying it. Somebody's giving them that money. They're not taking it out of people's mouths. I'm not saying that I'm like, you know, that's absolutely what you should go and encourage your daughter to do, but hey, good, they're doing business because people want that. But people are seeing that service. They're seeing what they're getting. They're paying for that service. The Kickstarter thing is a whole different beast where you're paying all this money for something so that you can see it in the future. You don't even, it's not even something that you're like, you know, it's going to happen. Like in a minute, you're going to get it. That person's going to go to the back of the store and bring it out to you, or the person's going to take off the goods when they see the money. No, you have no idea whether or not it's happening. And it's not happening tomorrow. You're doing this hoping that in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, this thing is going to happen. And then what happens if mysteriously the person dies or they just disappear off the face of the earth? All that money that everyone donated, that's gone. So I can understand why the people who backed him are like, listen, we need to see your code. And like, I know you're like, well, I don't want anyone to steal it. You have to show them the whole thing. But at the same time, you have to show them something. Like something more. And if he has been working for the game on the game for 2 years, I don't know. Unless he takes his time, like he takes maybe like 2 hours out of his day and he takes off some days. Because I know that there are people, you're not working on the game day in, day out, unless you're really resilient. There's people who do that, but not everyone does. If you have another job that's demanding, you may put it on hold for a few months, but then you can't say you've been working on the game for 2 years. You really haven't been working on it for 2 years because you can only measure the time you've been working on it when you were actively working on it. So I can understand where people are coming from. And honestly, for this guy to call people trolls for accusing him because he's being really secretive, that's really unprofessional. And you're basically telling people, hey, give me all your hard-earned money for my dream to make it happen, but I don't have to prove to you I'm actually going to make it happen. I don't have to show you shit. Like, I don't have to show you anything. That's rude. And that's why I don't back people on Kickstarter anymore. Unless it's a company that I actually know, that I backed before, or that I know that they're good for their word, I don't back people. And, you know, it's kind of sad because it makes it bad for everybody else who is legitimate, and then you have people like this that steal. And then you think to yourself, is it fraud? Because this is where it gets slippery. Nobody forced you to give him money. And he didn't promise you that this would happen. They didn't say that, look, if you give me $1,000 in good faith, this absolutely will happen. No, as far as you're concerned, it could just die tomorrow. We'll never get the game. Star Citizen is a clear example of that. Look, we're Star Citizen. Well, it takes years for this to happen. For a time there, people were very upset because nothing was happening. No proof of anything was happening. And I think that there was a leak somewhere, and then they found out that there was actually nothing really happening. That everything that the guy said he was actually doing, he wasn't. Well, all that's hearsay. All I do know is I, myself, am a victim of that. Thank goodness I didn't put in a lot of money. But, you put in $50 for something, and then all of a sudden, it's not happening anymore. I can count on like one hand how many games I backed. Some of them were stupid browser games. Some of them were Kickstarters, and they just never happened. Never happened. And all that money just washed away. Or how about a game on Facebook, or back in the day, games you used to pour your money in. They're not games that you pay for. They're not pay-to-play games. They're micromanagement games, or microtransaction games, sorry. So you pay for the stuff that you want in the game, like Outernauts. It was owned by Insomniac, and they sold it to someone else. And those people killed off the game. But people put hundreds of dollars in those games. I used to play, the Dragon games back then, too. Hundreds of dollars. I mean, when I tell you hundreds of dollars, I spent, $1,000 per year. Just on those freaking games. And most of the games I started playing with like that, guess what happened? No more games on Facebook. Those games just started going tits up, and all that money's gone. Not like when you pay for a console game, you pay $60 for your Switch game or for your PS4 game, and you have it forever. No, you're just dousing money out into these games, and then they're just gone, and all of the stuff that you paid for is gone. You can never get it back. Faunasphere never can get that back, and it's like a huge waste of money. So why would this person call people trolls for, wanting a little proof that this game is actually going to happen? Giving them a play-by-play. That's why I also like it's not Zigzag Games. I forgot the name of the company. I did do videos for them a long time ago. I did a whole walkthrough, a playthrough of one of their games. And what I can tell you about this company is almost every day till when that game was released, they were giving updates. The guy ran into some hard times for a few months. He came back. He said, I'm sorry. I had some personal issues going on. It was 2 or 3 months. You just didn't hear anything from him. But before that, it was every day. Then he came back every day, almost every day. And you were constantly getting updates from this person. That's what you do. They were so open. They let us know, hey, here's the models that we're working with. Here's a new map we've added. It's now playable. Here's the alpha. Here's the beta. There's certain things that you're okay, you can see the progression happening. You're not just, it encourages people to want to give you money. It encourages people to back up off of you because they know, okay, I don't have to worry about this person stealing my money. They're actually doing something with it. They're seeing it built. It's like if you pay money for a house to be built and you go there and nothing is happening, or they bar you from visiting. My parents built their house. They went and I think you put money down. I'm not sure how that worked. I forgot. But they were able to go to the house. As far as I'm concerned, they paid to have the house built. So some money had to have passed hands. And they were able to go to the house as much as they wanted to and see it being built. How creepy would it have looked if they're like, no, you can't enter now, you can't see it. That's just, you can't walk through it, can't. But how am I going to know to tell you if you're doing something wrong, or if you actually put the fireplace in, which they didn't put the fireplace in. She asked for a fireplace, and somehow, for whatever reason, they didn't put it in. They forgot. But that was her thing because she didn't look. But at the same time, you get where I'm coming from. So this person being really strange and banning people for asking uncomfortable questions, quote unquote, that makes me feel like this game isn't happening. And I'm sorry, maybe I'm cynical, maybe I am being pessimistic, which is contrasting to my nature, but I've been burned many times by the same situation with you backing people and then making money and them like, you know what? Why would I spend the next 2 years trying to make this happen and do all this unnecessary work when I've already gotten paid? I don't need to do anything. Come on. I have $500,000 freaking dollars, dude. Even if the taxes come out of it. Let's just say that the taxes and him paying people and giving everyone their due that had something to do with it, he ends up with $300,000. Dude, if he lives in his means, he never has to work again in the rest of his life. Especially if he's like an older person, you never have to work again. So that's like, if I'm looking at that, I'm like, wow, that's really tempting. Like, I can understand why your motivation would be like, I don't have to do anything. I can hire lawyers to make all of you go away. Take it whatever way you want to take it. That's a lot of money. So I understand where people are coming from. And when they see that amount of money, they're like, yeah, this is more of a reason for us to be concerned that this person may just feel like he doesn't any longer need to make this project happen. And there have been people who've done that. They've started Kickstarters, these sob stories, or things that are just concepts, and they just do the bare minimum, some animation, some interactive playable level, that's just one level, and they're like, here, check that out. Wouldn't it be cool if you could do this? And in the future, we're gonna have the dragons go into space and evolve into like other monsters so they could swallow planets, but then the planets themselves become dragons, and then they breed with other planets, but then the black holes are these other creatures that try to eat them, and you're like, holy shit, that sounds awesome, money throw. And you're like, they're selling you a dream, just like those pyramid schemes. It's just another version of it. So don't back people. Like, it sounds horrible, and I feel bad for those developers who are actually honest. Or if you see a goal, I can't even say don't back people. If you see a goal for something, try not to go over it. Like, seriously, unless it's a kid with cancer or something. Which, even with that, you have to be careful. Unless you see some kind of proof or you can do something that would make it harder for other developers because now they have all these other obstacles that they have to go over because of people, like, I'm hoping this person isn't. But don't throw your money away, guys, because they're going to see this and they're going to be like, it's going to encourage them to want to run away with the money. They can get away with it too. With that kind of money, I mean, I'm sure that, you have to clear off some of it. It's not easy just, doing all that. But if you want to run away from your taxes, they just move to another country. I know someone, not personally, but someone close to me worked alongside this person. He was a competitor. And he owed so many taxes. He stole money from people because he was selling them a dream. And he made a lot of money. He's a millionaire. And you know what he did? I think he went, was it Thailand? Some Thailand or Taiwan. I can't remember. But he went there with his wife to evade the taxes down here and to evade the backlash. And now he lives down there with his wife. Living up the dream because he still has all that money, but doesn't have to pay any taxes. He can never come back to the States, but who cares? He's rich. Come on. So just be careful. This is very disappointing. And this is why when I see things like this, I have a tendency to be really icky and just like screaming all over the place. But I also am very wise at this point because I have been burned before and I know other people have as well. And especially if somebody's being very shady, that is something to concern yourself with. Seriously, they should have a thing where after a certain time or whatever, you don't see any proof of something, you can get your money back, because they really should implement something, especially if it's a developmental thing for like a program or something like this. They should have something in place where after a certain time, you're given a certain time to open up to the community and show them the process of your work at length, or to stream with them or do something. And if you do not provide this or adhere by this, you lose the money. And I know that's kind of like a fool's dream because nobody told you to give the person the money. But at the same time, it's kind of like you're paying for a service. Since we're not actually getting the game, the service that we're paying for, since you're getting way more money than you should have gotten in the first place, is for us to see the making of the game. That's the privilege we get as backers. And it doesn't have to be to everyone. It's to people who are backers. Like what Temtem did. Temtem's been updating stuff. And then they also say to backers, you get to play this. As we update the stuff, you get to play this version of the game. So it's really sad. And I hope that this isn't what it is, but I'm not having a lot of faith. I agree with IGP. I'm not having a lot of faith that this person is trustworthy. They're not acting like a trustworthy person. You cannot ask people for their money and then be all secretive and say you don't want people to steal your stuff, or think that you don't want to share. I mean, I don't know the reason why he doesn't want to share his code or open up about that stuff. That's what people are assuming. But that's really stupid because these people don't want you stealing their money either. So Anyway, what do you guys think about this? Do you think this is legit? Do you have any concerns about this game? Do you think that Jo is actually right and he doesn't have to prove anything? And it's the people's fault. You know, they shouldn't have given their money. They knew what they were getting into, and he works best when he's not under that kind of pressure. Or do you think that the people who gave him the money at least are owed the process and the walkthrough of everything so they can see that their money is being put to where it needs to go? Let us know in the comments, or let me know in the comments. This isn't Altiori, this is my channel. But yeah, let me know in the comments. And yeah, see you in the next video.